Hello. So another way to solve percentage problems is by means of what we call commutativity. Commutativity, as we see in the board, is basically where we can approach a problem in different ways and still get the same results. For example, you see the examples 1 plus 5 is the same thing as 5 plus 1. The answer is 6. 6 times 7 is the same thing as 7 times 6. The answer is 42. That is commutativity. Now, commutativity only occurs in addition and subtraction and multiplication rather. It doesn't occur with subtractions or divisions. So 1 minus 6 and 6 minus 1 are different. 5 divided by 4 and 4 divided by 5 are different. Commutativity also occurs in the case where we say A divided by B, A over B times C, and C over B times A, because in this situation, you're going to multiply the numerator A by C. And what do you have when you multiply A by C? When you multiply A by C, you have AC, which is the same thing you get when you multiply C by A. You have AC. So in any instance, you're going to have AC over B. So however you take this situation, however approach you use to approach this, you're going to get AC over B. Now, why is this important in percentages? Well, a percentage is basically a fraction, right? 60% is 60 over 100. 60 over 100. Now, let's say you're finding 60% of means times. Let's say you're finding 60% of 7, right? This is the same thing as saying 60 times 7, and you're still going to have 60 times 7 if you say 7% of 60, right? If you turned it around and said 7% of 60, you're still going to have the same 60 times 7. Now, if you're finding 15% of 5, that is 15 over 100 times 5, you're going to have 15 times 5 as the numerator and 100 as the denominator. That is still the same thing as saying 5% times 15, because in this instance, you're going to say 5%, 5 over 100 times 15, which is still 5 times 15, everything over 100 in this situation. So, just what are you going to do now? It's quite simple, really. This is a very easy thing to do. It basically means that if you want to find a percentage, all you have to do is to find the easiest number. For example, if you chose to find 6% of 10 and you find it difficult, you can as well turn it around and find 10% of 6 instead, because 6% of 10 is going to be 6 over 100 times 10, right? Which is basically going to give you 6 times 10 is 60. So this is basically going to give you 60 over 100. Now, if you did 10% of 6, you're going to have 10 over 100 times 6, which will still give you the same 60 over 100. So you can use the principle of commutativity to your advantage when solving percentages, because when you take these digits here, you take it here, and whatever you see here, you bring it here. So 6% of 50, the same thing as 50% of 6. 9% of 30, the same thing as 30% of 9. Once you keep this in mind, you can easily find any percentage you want to find. This is how we use the principle of commutativity to our advantage here. All right, so that is something that can help you find this very easy, and I really hope you gain something from it. So in review, commutativity is a case where you approach a problem in different directions, but you still get the same solution or the same results. Now, since commutativity applies in fractions, and since percentages are also fractions, you can say commutativity also applies in percentages too. use that to your advantage.